Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today we are live from the Tesla studio and we will be talking about a topic that many of you requested. I received lots of messages on Instagram as well. We will find out what happens if you reach at a Tesla supercharger right before the peak hour. What happens if you plug in before, and what happens with the tariff if you enter the peak hour and you are already plugged in. As many of you know, the tariff differs. So there are two types of tariffs: off peak and during peak. Of course, during peak it's more expensive, and we will be doing exactly that today. We'll also be doing the other way around, so we will try to plug in our car during the peak hour right before it finishes, and we will see if the tariff changes after we end the peak hour but we are still plugged in and charging. So without further ado, let's start and let's see what will happen. Alright, so we are at 49% battery and we will start navigating to our nearest supercharger. So no need to actually charge today, but I wanted to do this for the sake of experimentation and because many of you asked for it. So we will be going to the Reichsbike supercharger. The price is super low. It's 0.22 euros per kilowatt in off-peak and 0.24 during peak. But in other places, it's much more expensive. For instance, let's take this. In Germany, it's 0.39 and 0.43. So the difference is much higher. From this perspective, I'm quite happy that I live in the Netherlands, to be honest. Very electric car friendly. What I'm gonna do, because I'm at 49%, I don't want to do the preconditioning. I don't need it. I'm not in a hurry. So I'm gonna see what other point I can put here, or I can simply press on this map. Yeah, because here is a supercharger, so I'm just gonna hit start and we will be heading to this point. This is to avoid the preheating of the battery. We will be having a lower speed of charging there, but as I said, I don't really mind because the goal here is just to see the price and not to see how efficient we are charging at the supercharger. So without further ado, let's go and see you at the supercharger. We just reached the supercharger and we reach here 10 minutes before the peak hour starts, and it's super busy. Another car is here, so we're gonna do this so we can let her pass, and then reverse. So what I wanted to say, I'm just gonna stay here for 5-6 minutes. We're not gonna start charging now. Again, we do not need too much juice. We're just gonna need a bit. So I don't want to start too early. And we'll see if our experiment works. It's 3:58 and the peak hour starts at 4. What I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna go to charging, open the charge port and start charging. officially plugged in before the peak hour. As you can see, lots of cars are charging here. And we started charging. We are at 59, so it's 3:59 p.m. As you can see, the speed is really low because we did not do preconditioning of our battery. And we will see what happens after 4 p.m. You now see here the price. So the price is 0.22 kilowatts hour. Let's see what happens after 4. Again, the time is 3:59. And we just got our first kilowatt, and we have 0.22 already charged to our account. Okay, so it's 4 p.m. and now we should have the peak tariff applied, right? According to this, we should have the peak tariff applied. Let's wait for a couple more minutes to see what is happening. I'm just gonna go back to the charging menu. Okay, so we just charged 2 kilowatts and the cost is 0.44. That obviously means that we are still on 0.22 kilowatts per hour, which is the off-peak tariff. Let's wait a bit more until 4:03:05 and see what happens. Okay, so 4 minutes have passed since the beginning of the peak hour. We charged 6 kilowatts hour and the session cost is 1.32. 1.32, it's a multiply of 0.22. Now we just gained another kilowatt, so that means that the price remains unchanged for the whole duration of the charging, at least until now. So the conclusion is quite straightforward. If you reached before the peak, you will be charging with the same price, so there is no sort of dynamic charging. What I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna unplug this. As you can see, by the way, we are charging with 76 kilowatts. That's also due to the fact that we are at 56% battery. That's one, and the charging curve is quite low. We are having a long range model, so the curve of this batteries is low when the percentage is higher. But in the same time, we did not do any preconditioning, so that might also be a factor. Let's unplug and try to charge again. Okay, and now we will plug again. Just gonna press the button. Great, the button is working in the end. And let's go again and see what happens. Okay, so the price changed immediately to 0.24 kilowatts hour. That means that we are now charging at the peak tariff. All right, The reason I did this, I stopped charging and I restarted it. I just wanted to make sure that there is no problem with the classification of the price when charging at this supercharger. So I just wanted to clarify this for everyone. And we also have this message: next time navigate to Supercharger, battery will precondition for faster charging. Yeah, that's a good tip from Tesla. Thank you, Tesla. But now I did this on purpose because I wanted to not to lose energy on the road, and the goal was not to charge faster but just to experiment the price of a charging during on and off peak. Alright, what we're gonna do now, we're gonna unplug our car and come back in the other interval, which is starting 8 p.m. and we will be doing the reversing. We will be charging, or we will start charging during the peak, and let's see what happens when we are going in the off-peak interval. Stay tuned.
One eternity later.
Alright, we are now at the supercharger for part 2 of our experiment. So it's 6 minutes to 8, so 6 minutes until the peak hour ends. And what we will do the opposite now. We will be starting our session during the peak hour. So again at maybe 1 or 2 minutes before 8, and keep it running for maybe 3-4 minutes after 8. So we will see how the tariff will be like. Okay, so I will be starting in 3 minutes. In case you are wondering if I'm keeping the stall busy, well, plenty of stalls here, as you can see. So no problems with the occupancy. We have 13 stalls available on arrival and 1 car en route. So in 2 minutes I will be starting the session. The supercharger says only 1 car en route, but we actually have 2 Teslas that just arrived, so it looks like I'm not the only one that does not use the preconditioning feature, so does not put the supercharger as a destination. That's one option, or the other option is that the supercharger is not really updated with the amount of cars that are coming en route towards him. So it's 2 minutes to the off-peak hour. So let's make sure that we are starting our session during the peak time, okay? Okay, so I just started the session. As you can see the blue logo here. So let's go inside the car, and it's 2 minutes to 8. We see here that the price is 0.24 euros per kilowatt hour, and let's see if this changes when we are getting out of the peak hour. Alright, so it's 8 and we are now officially exiting the peak time, and we are entering the off-peak time. Let's see if something changes in a couple of minutes. Again, we received this tip that we should hit or we should add the supercharger as a destination to do the preheating before. And we also see that the charging rate is limited by the low battery temperature. Yes, that is indeed the case. So we are not charging at full capacity now. It's 8:01. We have charged 3 kilowatts now, and the total cost was 0.72. That means that the same 0.24 euros per kilowatt hour price is kept, even though we have exited the peak hour. I'm not sure if you can hear on the background, it's the battery warming up probably. I can also feel this vibration in the steering wheel. So what the car does, it's warming up a bit the battery so it can have a higher throughput. Okay, we are already at 02. There is no point of waiting. It's obvious that the same price remains for the whole duration of our charging. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna stop charging and I'm gonna put it again to see if the price changes. Okay, as you can see, a new session just started, and the session started with 0.22 euros per kilowatt hour. So it's quite straightforward. Once you have started the session, the price does not change, even though you moved from off-peak to peak or the other way around. Meanwhile, we also saw the session energy incrementing, so it's quite obvious, and also the session cost, so it's quite obvious that the price is 0.22 euros per kilowatt, which corresponds with the off-peak tariff. Hello everybody, so I wanted to come back to you with the conclusions of this small experiment. So first of all, I want to say that the tariff remains unchanged. If you are already charging and you are switching from the off to during peak, or from the peak to the off-peak hours. So that's something that we just witnessed today. The moment you start charging, that will be the tariff that stays with you throughout the whole duration of your charging session. Now, a couple of takeaways from this. If you are reaching the supercharger somewhere at the limit, like right at sharp when the peak charging starts, maybe you can make an effort and go there 1 or 2 minutes before, so you can take advantage of the off-peak charging rate. That's especially valid when you really want to charge for a long time, because of course the price difference is higher when you are putting more kilowatts into your battery. So the higher number of kilowatts that you get, the higher the price difference. Now for Netherlands, the difference is not that high, so I wouldn't struggle to go there for only 2 cents, of course. But I know that in Germany and Denmark and the country that I've been in, the difference is higher, so it's like maybe 4, 5, 6 cents per kilowatt. So yeah, that's my takeaway. If you charge for a long time, you can make an effort and reach there before the peak hour. On the opposite side, if you reached let's say here in the Netherlands the peak hour ends at 8 p.m. So if you know that you are reaching the supercharger at 2, 3, 4 minutes before 8, right? And again, you need to charge a lot, and time is not a problem. So it's not a problem for you. I would advise to wait for 5 minutes, because you will simply get a better price, right? That's my takeaway. Again, if time is a constraint for you, of course, you should be charging right away. Regarding the dynamic implementation of the charging rate, I think that's not something very difficult to implement, to be honest. So you just know the time where when the charging price changes. So I wouldn't find it so difficult to implement. So Alan, please, if you see this video, you can take that into account for the next software upgrade. And I think that will make everything more transparent to all the Tesla users. I know that this topic was asked from many of you. That's the reason that I wanted to make a dedicated video about it. I hope that's clear for everyone now, once and for all, what is the status of off-peak and during peak charging, and how the Tesla system charges you within these time intervals. Thanks everyone for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and stay tuned for my next videos. New projects are coming soon, so see you in my next video.